Welcome learners to another exciting math lesson, and today we shall be discussing on ratios. Ratios are comparisons of two or more quantities of the same kind. What do I mean? We can compare, for example, in a class, we are told that we have boys and girls. So in that class, we can compare the number of boys and girls. Those are two comparisons. For example, we are told in that class there are 20 boys, and in the same class there are 30 girls, making the total number of pupils in that class. And then we can ask ourselves, what is the ratio of the number of boys to girls in that class? And this is very simple. Solution. We must understand that these comparisons are being compared, and they can be written into three ways. Number one, we can write and compare the number of boys to the number of girls in that class in fraction form. For example, we can say the boys are 20 and the girls are 30. And that way we have formed a fraction, which is 20 by 30. But you know, the rule of fractions is when a fraction can be simplified, we go ahead and simplify. So for example, if we could simplify 20 over 30, we get 2 over 3. So this is one way of comparing the number of girls to boys and writing the ratio as a fraction. Number two, we can write the same ratio as a form 2. 2 is to 3. This is called the colon way. 2 colon 3. So this means that the number of boys to girls in that class is 2:3. This becomes the ratio. And we can also go ahead and compare something else. We can compare, for example, we are told in a basket, we have different types of fruits. Assuming that is our basket. In this basket, we can say there are mangoes. There are 2 mangoes. We can also say there are 3 oranges. And maybe you go ahead and say there are 5 guavas. Those are guavas. So our basket contains 3 different types of fruits. We have mangoes, we have oranges, and we have guavas. Those are 3 types of fruits that we have. So we can be told those are mangoes, these are oranges, and these are guavas. So we are told, for example, the mangoes are 2, the oranges are 3, and the guavas are 5. So the same can be written in a ratio. And every time you are writing a ratio, we must consider the numbers respectively, the way they appear, the sequence in which they appear. For example, here we can say we have mangoes to oranges to guavas. They must appear in that order. So for example, here we can say and write that the mangoes are 2, the oranges are 3, and the guavas are 5. So the ratio of our 3 types of fruits is 2 colon is to 3 is to 5. So moving on with our example here, where we are comparing the mangoes, the oranges, and guavas, and we have said that the ratio, when writing the ratio, they must appear in that sequence. Mangoes is to oranges is to guavas. Mangoes is to oranges is to guavas. And then down here, we write the number representing each and every type of fruit. So mangoes are 2, the oranges are 3, and the guavas are 5. So that is now one way how we can write the number of fruits we are given here as a ratio. And we can go ahead, for example, you can be asked, what is the ratio of mangoes to guavas? This time we are asked mangoes is to guavas. So you must start with mangoes and then you go to guavas. Then when you come to mangoes, pick the number that is representing the mangoes, which is 2, the number that is representing the guavas, that is 5. So the ratio of mangoes to guavas is 2 is to 5. You can also be asked to write the ratio. We write the ratio of oranges is to guavas. That is the number of oranges is to guavas. We'll come here and pick the number representing the oranges, that is 3, is to the number representing the guavas, which is 5. And the ratio becomes 3 is to 5. We can also go ahead from the mangoes, oranges to guavas, and the ratio as 2, 3, and 5. We can also be able to get the total number of fruits in this bowl by adding the mangoes, the oranges, and the guavas. When we add the ratio, or we add the total, it will give us 2 plus 3, that is 5 plus 5, you get 10. We can also form another ratio here and say that mangoes to oranges to guavas give us a total of 10. So this ratio, when added, they are 2 is to 3 is to 5, it will give us a total. This is a total of 10. So you can also be asked to write the mangoes as a fraction of the total. Mangoes as a fraction of the total. What do? We come and pick our mango, which is 2, over, fraction means over a number, and here our total becomes 10. So the fraction is 10, and it can also be written as a ratio, that is 2 is to 10. This means this is the ratio of mangoes compared to the total number of fruits. And we can also go ahead and write oranges. Oranges. What is the fraction of oranges? The number of oranges over the total. Shall take oranges 3 over 10. That is now in fraction form, which can be written as 3 is to 10. Okay, having been able to write the given comparisons into ratios, we can also go ahead and write or calculate the total number of items either in decreasing ratio or increasing ratio. And that will be our next video. So next time, that is what we will be discussing, increasing ratios and decreasing ratios. So that is at the end of our lesson today. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. See you next time. Bye.